for parents, one of the hardest things to do is to let kids spread their wings. You hope that their upbringing gave them the sense they need to make proper decisions, but between prom, graduation parties, weekends at the beach, kids are tempted all the time, particularly to drink when they're underage. So the most important thing you can do is keep an open line of conversation with them. That can be tough at times, though. So joining us today to help is educator and certified parent coach, MJ Corrina. MJ, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
MJ, do you think parents really understand how much of an impact they have on their kids' lives?
You know, I do not.
Yeah.
I think that parents start to feel like they're losing control when their kids go to middle school and peers become so important.
Right.
And between all the screen time that our kids are on, you know, the computer or the telephone, that's funny that I said that, cell phone. But, you know, all that time gets absorbed, and I think parents start to feel like, it doesn't even matter what I say. I hear parents all the time say, MJ, it doesn't matter what I say. They're going to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
To me, it is critical for us to realize that they are watching us every minute. That they watch what we do, they watch what we say, they see if it really does connect.
Right.
Does it, you know, and if it doesn't, it causes them to not really believe.
Okay, so MJ, I'm a parent. Help me out with this. Give me some steps to guide me through this conversation.
Make sure your message is clear. Make sure your actions match your words. And be clear about consequences with them. And start building relationships again. You know, when my kids were in middle school, I remember sitting in the car saying, okay, I feel like all I do is say, did you do your homework? When you get home, I want you to clean your room, and then we got to go to soccer practice, and then this, and all those things. And so I concentrated on when I was in the car talking to them about my day. I was giving them information, like a real conversation.
Right.
I would say, guess what happened at school today, because I'm an educator. And I would share about one of the kids and what they did. And, you know, even if they were looking out the window the whole time I was talking, I still did it. And every day I consistently did that. Guess what? After 2 weeks, they started saying, hey, Mom, what about that little girl who you said bit the other little boy the other day? What happened with her?
How about that?
Oh, they're listening. They might not look like it, just like when they roll their eyes, they're paying attention. But we like make them look at us and make them talk to us, and it's like when we make someone do that, they shut down. We have to realize that our part as a parent is to listen. It's about looking for opportunities like prom and graduation. If you only focus on the dress and you only focus on the outfit and the, you know, all the other goodies, then you miss the boat. As parents, we have to take those opportunities, talk to our kids, start by listening before we do that, and have open-ended questions. What will you do if you get to prom and there is drinking?
Right.
Tell me, what's your plan? And let them know your support by saying, you can always call me, I will always pick you up without any question, we'll talk about it later.
And it's your advice that it's important that parents support parents.
Absolutely. The community is key here. Talk to each other. Get this resource. Get the Family Talk About Drinking resource. Share it with each other. Download it. Give it to the superintendent, the principals, everyone.
Alrighty. Educator and certified parent coach, MJ Corrina, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. If you'd like to know more about what MJ just had to say, all you have to do is go to delmarvalife.com and click on the show tab.
Well, Jimmy, besides drinking at prom and graduation, another thing parents have to deal with when it comes to their children, heroin use. Every day, 100 Americans die because of the drug, but it doesn't have to be that way. WBOC's Corrina joins us now with more. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So, Corrina, the problem of heroin use can happen to anyone. It really doesn't matter the race or economic status.
Right.
Heroin's cheap now.
It's very, very cheap. What we've seen is the problem has gone from prescription drug abuse to heroin use. So you can get a small capsule of heroin for about $10 versus one prescription pill for about $35 to $40. So what's happened is a lot of addicts have transitioned from those pills to the heroin. I spoke with one woman from Wicomico County. She has a son who is 27 years old, and he is an addict. What happened to him was that transition from the prescription pills to the heroin. Now, he is not what you would think of when you think of maybe a stereotypical drug user.
Right.
He came from a good home. His dad's in law enforcement. He was a great student, very involved in sports, had a job, graduated. So again, it really brings home the point it can happen to anybody.
And circumstances made him stop, correct?
Yes, he actually is in prison right now. And believe it or not, his mother says that that was probably the best thing that could have happened to him, because she said, you know what, if he was still out there, still using heroin and not in prison, he was probably going to end up dead. So he is now serving a 7.5-year prison sentence, and that is what forced him to stop.
Right. Another thing that can help them stop the heroin use is a controversial drug called Narcan. Tell me about that.
So Narcan is a drug that basically reverses the effects of an overdose. Any kind of opiates, heroin included, if somebody overdoses and it's administered in time, it actually reverses the overdose. It actually brings somebody back from the dead. It gives them that second chance, and that's why it's called the miracle drug.
But it's controversial for a
It is.
reason, right? I mean, people think that you really shouldn't use it.
Exactly. Well, some people argue, and it's a good argument, that it just enables addicts. It kind of empowers them, because if they're thinking, well, you know, I'm addicted to this drug, but the worst that's going to happen is I'm going to overdose and someone can just hit me with the Narcan and I'm going to come back to life, I'm not going to die. Is that going to empower them? Is that going to cause them to constantly use the drug, not seek help, and not take care of that problem? So that's where the controversy lies. But then on the flip side, you have to kind of think, and it can be very easy to separate the addiction, the disease, because that's what it is, from the human being.
Right.
And you have to think, well, if it was your child, if it was your brother or your sister, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin, your best friend, of course you would want them to have that second chance. You don't want them to die. So there are two sides to it.
And of course, you're going to have so much more tonight. Find out more about Narcan and which agencies here on Delmarva have it and who is trying to get it back from the dead. That's tonight on WBOC News at 11. Thank you, Corrina. Well, still ahead on Delmarva Live, feed a cold, starve a fever. You'll get sick if you go outside with wet hair. Wash your windows with newspaper. Are they all fact or fiction? We get to the bottom of some of this advice that's been passed down from generation to generation. Plus, when it comes to veggies, fresh, frozen, or canned? Well, the answer may seem obvious, but not so fast. Find out what nutritionists are saying about all three options next. Delmarva Life, we'll be right back.